As the war in Ukraine continues to evolve, its ramifications are being felt not only on the battlefield but also in the political arenas of the United States and beyond. Recent developments highlight a troubling intersection of military strategy and foreign aid dynamics, particularly as former President Donald Trump has announced a freeze on U.S. foreign aid, a decision that is causing significant alarm among humanitarian organizations and military officials alike. The aid freeze, which halts nearly all U.S. foreign assistance except for that directed to Israel and Egypt, has left many Ukraine-based humanitarian projects in a precarious state. Reports indicate that organizations supporting veterans' healthcare and landmine clearance are experiencing immediate funding cuts. Maria Volodymyr, a wife of a soldier, voiced her concerns on social media, stating that the closure of the veteran hub was a very severe blow to those relying on such support. This aid freeze comes at a critical moment when Ukraine is facing heightened military pressures from Russian forces, further exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. On the battlefield, the situation remains dire as Russian drones continue to launch attacks, with Ukraine's air defense reportedly intercepting around 65 out of 100 drones in a recent onslaught. Kharkiv in particular has suffered from drone strikes that have injured civilians and damaged property, emphasizing the ongoing threat to Ukrainian cities. Ukrainian forces have managed to repel nearly 100 Russian attacks near the strategic town of Pokrovsk, a vital logistics hub, underscoring the fierce resistance being mounted by Kyiv despite dwindling resources. Adding another layer of complexity, North Korean troops have reportedly begun to withdraw from the frontline in Russia's Kursk region after facing heavy losses. Ukrainian commanders have noted that the North Koreans might be regrouping or awaiting reinforcements, reflecting the shifting dynamics of military engagement in the area. A Ukrainian Special Forces commander known by the codename Pulse explained that the North Koreans have been observed taking drastic measures to avoid capture, even resorting to self-detonation in some cases. In the political sphere, the implications of Trump's foreign policy are being scrutinized. Analysts warn that the aid freeze not only undermines Ukraine's military efforts but also signals a retreat from Western support in the face of Russian aggression. This shift raises concerns about the future of U.S.-Ukraine relations, especially if Trump were to return to the presidency, as he has expressed a desire for European nations to increase their financial commitments to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has defended the need for robust military mobilization, asserting that a reduction in troop strength could lead to catastrophic results. In a world where the stakes are continually rising, the interplay between military actions and international political decisions will be critical in shaping the outcome of this protracted conflict. As the situation develops, the challenges Ukraine faces are compounded by internal strife, evidenced by the recent sacking of a deputy defense minister amid procurement disputes. This reflects a broader narrative of accountability and effectiveness within the Ukrainian military establishment, highlighting the complexities of managing wartime logistics and funding in an environment marked by external pressures and internal scrutiny. The future remains uncertain as Ukraine continues to navigate these multifaceted challenges. With the specter of a potential Trump presidency looming and ongoing military confrontations, the resilience of Ukraine's forces and the stability of its humanitarian support will be pivotal as they confront both immediate threats and longer-term geopolitical shifts. The coming weeks and months will likely reveal the true impact of these developments as both military dynamics and international alliances are tested in this ongoing crisis. As the conflict between Ukraine and Russia enters another tumultuous phase, the repercussions of geopolitical maneuvers are becoming increasingly evident. Recent events highlight the escalating military engagements and the complex interplay of international relations, particularly with the influence of the United States under President Donald Trump. This backdrop sets the stage for a significant freeze on humanitarian aid, which could have dire consequences for Ukraine's war effort and civilian population. In a troubling development, President Trump has enacted a freeze on U.S. foreign aid, significantly impacting various humanitarian projects across Ukraine. Reports indicate that this decision, which aligns with Trump's broader strategy of urging other nations to increase their financial commitments, has left many crucial initiatives without funding. Most humanitarian projects are now facing immediate cessation, affecting organizations that support veterans, local media, and healthcare services. Trump emphasized the need for wealthier nations to share the burden of aid, stating, "We want other people to join us. We are spending billions and billions and billions of dollars, and other countries that are wealthy are spending zero." Highlighting a growing frustration with international financial dynamics. On the ground, the situation remains precarious as Russia continues its aerial offensives. In a series of overnight drone strikes, Russian forces targeted various locations in Ukraine, including the Kyiv region, where debris from a downed drone struck a museum housing vintage cars once owned by ousted President Viktor Yanukovych. The resultant fire devastated the museum, destroying 9 vehicles and damaging 27 others. Mykola Kalashnik, head of the Regional Military Administration, reported that the strikes also inflicted damage on residential areas and private properties, although there were no civilian casualties. The drone attacks are part of a broader strategy by Russia, which reportedly launched 100 Shahid drones during the assault, with Ukrainian forces successfully intercepting 65 of them. However, the damage inflicted continues to challenge Ukraine's infrastructure and civilian safety. In Kharkiv, a drone strike resulted in injuries to 4 individuals, further underscoring the ongoing threat posed by Russian military operations. Adding to the complexity, recent intelligence suggests a partial withdrawal of North Korean forces from the front lines in Ukraine. This development follows reports indicating that North Korean troops engaged alongside Russian forces have suffered heavy losses. A Ukrainian Special Forces commander reported that some soldiers were observed resorting to extreme measures, including self-detonation rather than risk capture. The withdrawal may indicate a reassessment of tactics or a temporary regrouping as both sides adapt to the evolving battlefield dynamics. In the political arena, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is navigating these challenges while maintaining communication with international allies, including ongoing discussions with Trump. Following a recent call with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Zelenskyy emphasized the importance of sustained collaboration with U.S. partners, which he views as critical to ensuring long-term security for Ukraine. As the situation develops, analysts note that the prospect of negotiations between Trump and Putin could significantly influence the future landscape of the conflict. Former U.S. officials suggest that Putin may seek to leverage these talks to secure territorial gains and further diminish Ukraine's NATO aspirations. The stakes are high. Any agreements reached could reshape the geopolitical balance in Eastern Europe. In conclusion, as Ukraine faces increasing military pressure and funding challenges, the interplay of international diplomacy, military strategy, and humanitarian needs will be vital in determining the future course of the conflict. The coming weeks will likely reveal whether Ukraine can navigate these turbulent waters without succumbing to the compounded pressures from both military aggressions and political maneuvering on the global stage. In a startling revelation that has ignited controversy across political landscapes, Tucker Carlson, the former Fox News anchor and a prominent conservative commentator, has leveled serious allegations against the Biden administration, claiming it attempted to assassinate Russian President Vladimir Putin. This incendiary accusation was made during an episode of Carlson's podcast, The Tucker Carlson Show, where he conversed with journalist Matt Taibbi. Carlson's assertion comes amid heightened tensions between the U.S. and Russia, particularly in the context of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. During the podcast, Carlson explicitly stated the Biden administration they tried to kill Putin, describing such intentions as insane and demented. He attributed these motives to a broader goal of sowing chaos and potentially igniting World War III, arguing that chaos is a screen that protects them. Carlson pointed to former Secretary of State Tony Blinken as an example of those advocating for aggressive measures against Moscow, further inflaming the already charged rhetoric surrounding U.S.-Russia relations. While Carlson's comments have drawn significant attention, they lack substantiation, leading to skepticism regarding their validity. The Biden administration has yet to respond to these allegations, but the Kremlin has taken notice. Dmitry Peskov, spokesperson for the Russian president, reassured the public that Russian security services are implementing necessary measures to safeguard Putin's well-being, underscoring the seriousness with which Moscow regards such claims. Carlson's history of aligning with Kremlin narratives, particularly regarding U.S. military aid to Ukraine, has raised eyebrows among political observers. His past statements, where he characterized Ukraine as not a democracy and referred to it as a tyranny, have further fueled concerns about his influence and the implications of his rhetoric on American foreign policy. His 2023 dismissal from Fox News amidst controversies over the network's handling of electoral fraud claims underscores the contentious nature of his public persona. As the situation evolves, the implications of Carlson's allegations could reverberate through both domestic and international politics. Analysts suggest that such claims may embolden certain factions within the political spectrum that are sympathetic to Russia or critical of U.S. involvement in foreign conflicts. The potential for these assertions to reshape public opinion or influence policy decisions remains uncertain, but they undoubtedly contribute to the existing climate of distrust and division surrounding U.S.-Russia relations. Looking ahead, the political landscape is poised for further developments as the Biden administration grapples with not only domestic challenges but also the complexities of international diplomacy amid ongoing conflicts. Carlson's provocative statements may serve to deepen divisions within the U.S. political fabric, further complicating efforts to navigate the delicate balance of power in a world increasingly defined by geopolitical strife. In a significant diplomatic exchange, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy engaged in a phone conversation with former Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The dialogue, which took place on January 28, 2025, underscores the ongoing efforts by Ukraine to solidify international support amid a protracted conflict that has reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Europe. While specific details of the conversation remain under wraps, the context suggests that the discussion likely revolved around security cooperation and the broader implications of Ukraine's struggle against ongoing aggression. Zelenskyy has consistently emphasized the importance of forging strong alliances, particularly in light of the support Ukraine has sought from various countries to bolster its defense capabilities. As he noted in a recent statement, "We are counting on our allies to stand firm in the face of challenges," reflecting his administration's strategy of maintaining and strengthening international partnerships. This dialogue with Netanyahu comes at a time when Ukraine is navigating complex international relations, not only with Israel but also with European powers. The conversation follows another significant meeting where Zelenskyy conferred with French President Emmanuel Macron. In that meeting, the leaders discussed Ukraine's aspirations for European Union membership, with Zelenskyy expressing gratitude for France's unwavering support. "We are counting on France's support in the negotiation process for our accession to the EU," he stated, affirming Ukraine's commitment to join the bloc despite the ongoing war. The backdrop of these discussions is critical. Since the onset of the conflict in February 2022, Ukraine has sought to enhance its security frameworks and international alliances. The implications of these conversations extend beyond bilateral relations. They reflect a broader strategy to secure collective security guarantees that could potentially stabilize the region. Macron's support for Ukraine is particularly vital as France holds significant influence within the European Union, which could play a pivotal role in shaping Ukraine's future within the bloc. As the war continues to evolve, the need for robust diplomatic engagements becomes increasingly vital. Both Zelenskyy's outreach to Netanyahu and his discussions with Macron signify a proactive approach to diplomacy, where Ukraine is not only looking to secure military assistance but also seeking to solidify its position in European and global politics. Looking ahead, the outcomes of these dialogues will be closely monitored. The evolving dynamics in Ukraine's international relations, particularly with influential leaders like Macron and Netanyahu, could significantly impact the country's trajectory toward EU integration and ensure that Ukraine remains a key player on the global stage. As the conflict endures, the resilience and adaptability of Ukraine's foreign policy will undoubtedly be tested. But the commitment to forging strong alliances remains a cornerstone of its strategy for enduring peace and stability.